Nova not only finds out about her mother's past, but then someone from her past runs into her while she's on the book tour. Let's talk about Queen Sugar. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Queen Sugar Season 4, Episode 7, and the name of this episode is Of Several Centuries. This was a really good episode, and a lot, is revealed. So, the first person I'm going to talk about is Nova. Nova is in Philadelphia. She's doing this interview, about this program about lineages. And far as she knows, she's the last living relative of her maternal side involving her mom, Trudy. So while she's there, the woman that's working at the station, she pretty much tells her, we got some new information in regards to your family, and we want to include it in the show. Nova says absolutely not. We're gonna stick to what we're gonna discuss. And we pretty much hear the lady say, okay, Miss Bordelon says she doesn't want to do segment 4 and to scrap it from the show. So then we pretty much get the interview between her and the guy who's interviewing her. They go back and forth, and the guy was kind of coming off real aggressive and everything. When she talks about, the attacks on her family by, the Boudreaux and the Landrys. And he's like, well, so far they're alleged. But she's like, well, there's history and there's proof to show what they've done. And pretty much the history between our families and all of that. So pretty much he says that, so it's the interesting fact that I like to talk about is like your maternal side. You say you're the last of your mother's lineage. And she says, yes, I am the last. I'm the last of my mother's side of the family. As far as females, I'm the last female that's alive. And he says, well, the thing is, I'm here to tell you that you're not. And he reveals that this is Martha Lavoisier. She was your mother's first cousin. She's alive, and it's also been confirmed. And that her and your mother were close like sisters. And we see that Nova is ecstatic. She's excited. And she's like, wow, I have never been proud to be so wrong. So she realizes she got a second cousin, that she needs to connect with. And I think she may find out more than she bargained for when she meets that cousin. I'm just saying. So we just have to see. Then, while Nova's on her way to get in her car, guess who she runs into? Calvin. We all know Calvin from season 1. Calvin was the cop that was married, and they had this little love affair, and it just became completely catastrophic after a while. But you can definitely tell that there's still that deep passion and love that they have for each other, because literally when they saw each other, they looked like star-crossed lovers, like, the love that got away. And she's pretty much like, what are you doing in Philly? And he says that he tells her that he lives in Baton Rouge now, he's divorced, and he has his own security company. And he pretty much tells her that he read her book, and he tells her that, yeah, you're very brave. And the funny thing about it here was the love of my life mentioned me in her book, and in her book she mentions that I was the love of her life, and we can definitely see that the chemistry is still there. They go out, they later decide to meet up and go out, and spend time with each other. While they're out and about, she talks about her family's not speaking to her. So far it's been weeks and months. And she really feels that she lost her family. And, Calvin says, I don't think that's the case. There's too much love there. Love doesn't disappear like that. So Calvin does have a point. Yeah, they still love her. They don't fuck with her. And based off how the way she went about shit, who could blame them? Because while she's, getting her flowers and her career's taken off, you done flipped your family's life upside down. And they dealing with a whole bunch of shit. All do you write in that book? And pretty much he said that, and then pretty much Calvin lets her know that, here was all this time I tried to put us behind me, but as soon as I saw you, it went right out the window. And pretty much, Nova said the same thing, like, me too. And here it was, they pretty much, kissed goodnight or whatever, and she tells him that it was the best day that she's had in a long time. I'm like, yeah, because we definitely know what you was dealing with, Octavia's old leeching ass. But, shout out to Cree Summers. She did a phenomenal job at that role. But then the next day when she's about to leave, and before they break off, they pretty much, say how much they missed each other and that they apologize for how things happened. And the next day, Calvin comes back when she's about to leave, and he's pretty much saying that, we don't have to say goodbye. We can actually reconnect in a new way. And we see that they actually kiss and embrace each other. So it looks like Calvin and Nova are gonna try to actually be a couple this time around. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. So next I'm gonna talk about Darla. Now Darla comes to work and she goes to her desk and see that Nova's book is opened to the chapter about her, which is called A Fallen Star. And we see that her group of her co-workers are sitting there gossiping and talking shit about her. And one of the dudes was black. And it made me feel some kind of way, like, bruh, you sitting over here with these white people talking about another sister, about her past that you don't have no understanding or know nothing about. So in that scene, I really fell for Darla. And Darla knew that they were talking about her, and she says good morning, and they kind of like, and then they kind of disperse. So she really feels upset, and the first person she calls is Ralph Angel, but it goes to voicemail. Then the next time we see Darla, she's meeting up with Leo. Remember, that's the guy that she went on a date with, and Leo's really feeling her, and he pretty much says, it's a good thing that you called me. And she's pretty much saying, I'm doing fine, trying to put on that tough exterior. And I'm like, Darla, cut the bullshit. You are falling apart and you're in denial. And he pretty much tells her that, look, I'm happy that you called me. And I know that this is really bad, but I think you need to call Marlene. And remember, Marlene's her sponsor. She's like, I'm not weak, Leo. I'm like, bitch, he didn't say you was weak. He said you need to call her because this is a trigger. And when you triggered, you could easily go back to your old tactics, meaning drugs or alcohol or prostitution, what have you. He knows that he's telling you need to connect with your sponsor because you need help getting through this. But then she's like, he's like, I just think you need to call. And she's like, but I called you. And, thank you for coming, and I'll talk to you later. And I'm like, see, in that scene, Darla pissed me off. Because I'm like, Darla, you on some bullshit now. Because the funny thing about it, you didn't even call him first. You called Ralph Angel first. Ralph Angel, y'all are just co-parenting. You're no longer in a relationship. So the first person you should have called should have been Leo, not Ralph Angel. Unless it has something to do with Blue. So then, now I'm going to talk about Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel comes to, comes to the field, and he sees that Benny is getting arrested. These crooked ass cops done planted meth on him, and pretty much they're saying, well, you got all these ex-cons here, you never know. And pretty much Ralph Angel pretty much stands up and is like, this is some bullshit and all that. And the cop kind of threatens him, saying that, well, if you keep talking to me like that, boy, I'm gonna put you in that cop car right along with him. And then he kind of told him that, you know, I got cameras on my property, right? He's like, yeah, but are they running all day, every day? So we kind of see that, yeah, this motherfucker then rigged the cameras so to not see that they literally went on his property just to basically harass him and plant drugs on Benny to shut him down. But I think all of this stuff is connected. But then the next time we see them, you know, they finally got Benny out of jail. You know, Daisha is there, you know, because, you know, she's a public defender. And she, you know, Benny was bailed out. And, you know, he's starting to make, and Ralph Angel starting to make these connections, you know, assault on Charlie's, on the you know, assault on Charlie's office, you know, Benny, and, you know, what the hell is going on with all this shit? And she pretty much says, this is why I became a lawyer, you know. And we see that Benny is literally shut down, and I can only imagine, you know, the pain and the devastation he could be feeling, the fact that you constantly are seen as a target for the system. And pretty much Ralph Angel says that, look, you need to keep your head up. You know, he says that I believe that whole thing too, that if I kept my head down, that nobody wouldn't bother me, and that's just not real. But he lets him know, don't give up, Benny. And Benny says, I'm not giving up. You know, but he says, I just don't know where would I be if I didn't have y'all. And then pretty much later on, we see that Daisha and Ralph Angel have a moment, and she says that, look, your program is going to get under review due to this. And if they don't approve it, this can kill your funding for the program altogether. But she says that, yeah, they are trying to take things from you, but we're not going to let them take it without a fight. You know, yeah, we have to find a way to prove that Dully, the officer, tampered with your cameras. You know, we have to prove that. And we also need to talk to witnesses on the day that Benny was arrested. And she's like, yeah, and we got to hit them with everything we can. And, you know, and he says that, and she tells him that, look, we are not just going to let them take this from us. They are going to have to work for it. And we see that the two of them embrace, and I'm like, Daisha is the perfect girl for Ralph Angel, and I hope that Ralph Angel don't fuck this up and go back to Darla, because Darla's toxic. I love Darla, I don't hate Darla, but Darla's issues are very deep, and all she's gonna do is pretty much drag Ralph Angel in her mess, and he got enough mess as it is. He do not need to be dragged into Darla's drama. So I'm glad that he got Daisha. Daisha is the perfect woman for him, and I really hope to see him and Daisha's relationship get better along the lines, because he definitely needs that in his life. And to tell you the truth, Leo's a good guy for Darla, but Darla's on that bullshit. So then, now I'm going to talk about Aunt Vi. Aunt Vi and Rhonda leave the restaurant, and we come to find out that Hollywood is out of town, you know, visiting his mother. And while they leave, somebody comes into the diner and vandalizes the entire diner. They rip up the seats, they break tables, break chairs, break glass. Like, they literally damage the diner very badly. And she comes in there the next morning, and she's just emotionally shook, like, I cannot believe this happened to me. You know, and, you know, pretty much Rhonda was saying, you should call Hollywood. And she was about to call Hollywood, but decided not to call them. So then we see that Charlie and Micah show up. They pretty much apologize and that this happened to Vi. Micah starts helping people clean up and everything like that. And pretty much Charlie was like, you know, do they have any proof of who did this? And Vi was like, well, no, I don't have any video cameras. I never thought I needed them. You know, because, yeah, she's a pillar in that community. She never feared that no one would come and rob her or vandalize her place. You know, she's known in the neighborhood. But pretty much Charlie lets her know, I will get to the bottom of this. Trust and believe that. And then we see that Prosper and Cordell come in, and, you know, pretty much, you know, Cordell was like, dang, what the hell happened in here? He was like, well, I got vandalized, but I have insurance to cover it. Thank you for asking. And they come, and pretty much him and Prosper actually come in and help out, and they also apologize that this happened to her. And pretty much we see that Charlie gets to work, and she pretty much pretty much she has a moment with Vi, and she tells Vi, "You seem to be handling this pretty well, Vi." And she's like, "I've been through this before." And she's like, "When?" And she was like, "My house. Jimmy Dale vandalized my house, before he left. If I can get through that, I can get through this." And she says that, so what does Hollywood know? So what does Hollywood say about this? And she tells Charlie that I haven't talked to him. She says, "It's not Hollywood. I'm the one with the problem. Right now, I can't be touched by the man I love, all because of the man I hate." And, I think she is kind of suffering from PTSD, but she says, "I'm going to get myself together so when he gets back, I'll be ready for him." Then we see that Ralph Angel comes in and he embraces her. And So we pretty much see that going on with Vi, and then I'm gonna bring up Vi a little bit more later. So we see all that going on. Then I'm now gonna talk about Charlie. Charlie meets up with this woman who's the city council of St. Thomas, and she blatantly tells Charlie, "I'm not gonna work with you. The highway is what we wanted over in St. Thomas, and now St. Joe has it over here." She's like, "And besides, I read your sister's book. There seem to be some duplications involving you. Like one minute you for our people, but then you was literally entangled with the Boudreaux and the Landrys, in that whole little financial shit. So here it is, you were in bed with them, but now you saying you for the community." She says that, "Look, I would rather be betrayed by them than to be betrayed by one of our own." And she's like, "Look, I'm promising you that I'm actually here for the long haul, and I'm actually about the community and about saving the residencies of both of us, because what is going on is going to affect both of our communities." But then she tells Charlie, "If you find out how that highway got moved, then maybe we'll talk." So then we see that Charlie and Ralph Angel meet with a private investigator. And we come to find out that the pharmacy across the street from Vi has cameras, and they have footage of Vi's diner, and they notice a man who happens to be the guy Hank Miller, who works with Jacob Boudreaux, his business consultant. And here it is, he's taking pictures and is literally lurking around Vi's diner. And then they also get a photo of the person who vandalized Vi's restaurant, and we come to find out it's this young boy named Joaquin, who's Ignacio's son. Remember, Ignacio is one of the workers that was working with Ralph Angel before he got taken by ICE, him and his oldest son. And pretty much Charlie notices that something is off about this. And she's like, "I know someone who can help." So what she ends up doing, she actually reaches out to Angel Martinez, who's pretty much a pillar in the Latin community of St. Joe. And she also meets up with Ignacio's wife and Joaquin. And pretty much Angel lets Charlie know, "I'm so happy you brought this to us instead of the police." And Joaquin confesses that a man had offered him $500 to vandalize the restaurant, or that he will deport his mother like they're about to do to his father. And they show the picture of Hank Miller, and he pretty much says, "Yeah, that's the guy, and he also told me to throw a brick through Charlie's window." So now we call it 2 for 1. He threw a brick in Charlie's window, and he also vandalized Vi's restaurant, and Jacob's business consultant was the one who paid him to do it. So the funny thing about it, she was saying that, yeah, this guy works with the Boudreaux and the Landrys, but Angel was like, no, no, no. I've seen this guy before. You know, he works with this company, Old World Energies. You know, they're they're pretty much a gas company, and what they're doing is that they're pretty much, you know, coming through, and they're trying to get all of the landowners to sell their land for dirt cheap. You know, natural gas and fracking. So they're like wondering what's going on with this. And then pretty much, you know, Ignacio's wife is saying that please don't call the cops on my son. You know, don't take him to jail. And Charlie got my vote on this, and this is why Charlie's one of my favorite characters. She says that he vandalized the diner and he threw a brick through my window, but someone put that brick in Joaquin's hand. I want to find out who did. And I'm like, so she lets it be known, I'm not going to turn him in because he was used to do that. And he did it out of fear and out of desperation. But at the end of the day, Joaquin is a good kid. So we see that Charlie decides to meet up with Jacob Boudreaux. She pours him a glass of wine, and Jacob at first didn't want to take it. And she's like, it's not a poison chalice. So he takes it and starts drinking. And then she tells him, like, yeah, you were right. I apologize. You know, we're now running against each other. And, you know, I should have listened to you and I didn't. You know. But then she had like her little tight jeans on. She's serving like she got this really tight fitted sweater on in these jeans, and she's literally, you know, taunting, you know, Jacob, because she know Jacob like her and shit, but she don't want Jacob because Jacob's a little bitch. And pretty much she pulls out a folder of Old World Energies, and she was like, so why don't you tell me about Old World Energies? I mean, you mean to tell me that your family is now in bed with Old World Energies, where they want to build this highway and turn St. Joe's into a toxic ghost town? This is the new industry that you want to talk about? You know, this is what you guys are trying to do to us? And he was saying that, and pretty much, you know, she's like, you mean to tell me that because of what I did to the prison, this is what you guys are gonna do? And he was saying that no, we're doing this because and thinking so he's like, no, what you need to understand is that this is a new industry. You know, the prison thing is minuscule to this. I mean, we found gas deposits in St. Joe, and my mother teamed up with Old World Energies, you know, for them to secure the land. You know, and he's saying that you need to, and so she's saying that, so you mean to tell me all the black and brown people get to lose their lands all because you and your greedy ass family want to make money off of them? And I'm like, yeah, because they are so fucking evil because all they care about is green. And pretty much Jacob even said it. Look, Charlie, this is not about black and white. This is about winners and losers. Big Energy won this. You just have to pick a side. We did. So she's like, okay. And she hands over the Old World Energy folder to him. He opens it, and inside is a poster that says thanks. So she done played his ass, and he gave up everything that she needed to know. And he's pretty much saying, you're not gonna make a fool out of me. I'm not gonna let you make a fool out of me. And she looked at him and was like, it's a little late for that. Get out. So what Charlie decides to do, her and the woman from St. Thomas, they finally join forces because she lets her know why they moved the highway. They join forces and they form a silent protest. You see Ralph Angel and Daisha and Benny, they're wearing the shirts in protest. We see that Micah is even doing the silent protest at his school. And pretty much, you know, they're saying that we're going to be unified, that we're not going to let big money and big corporations suck away the lives of the people that make this town what it is. We're going to protect our communities. And it was a very beautiful moment. I'm like, Charlie is doing the damn thing. But we already know there's going to be some backlash. And you just kind of felt it. And also, another thing that happened that I forgot is that Charlie goes to Aunt Vi and she brings Joaquin to him. And she's saying that, look, I found out who did it, but give him the benefit of the doubt. So she done already let Aunt Vi know the situation with Joaquin. So she brings Joaquin in to speak to Aunt Vi, and he says that, I really apologize. You know, what happened to your restaurant, that wasn't me. I mean, it was me, but I didn't mean to do any harm. And she said, just hush, boy, before I change my mind. So she's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this old school. You know, you're going to come here 3 afternoons a week, including weekends, to pay this off. And you're going to work hard. You understand me? And he says, yes, ma'am. And she says, okay, go on out there and get to work. And while she goes out there, the whole community, the black community and the Latin community, are working together to restore her restaurant, to restore the diner and Prize Pies. And it was really beautiful. She was really emotional. She was like, oh my God, this warms my heart. And Charlie was saying, this is what we're about. This is what we're trying to do here. You know, that it's the people in the community that make St. Joe's thrive. And we're not going to let big corporations and big money take that away. So she formed the silent protest. It goes off without a hitch. We see that back at home, her and Micah are talking, and he pretty much says that, yeah, Mom, this thing is trending. My mom's a badass. She was like, language? But yeah, I am. And then the next thing you know, her phone goes off, the landline phone goes off, and she's like, nobody never calls the landline. Something's up. And she answers the phone, and it's Prosper. And she's like, what? And then all of a sudden, you know, Micah's looking at his mother. She's like, what's wrong, Mom? And she hangs up the phone, and it's like, the mill is on fire. So Queen Sugar is on fire. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm thinking, that punk-ass Jacob probably has something to do with it. Because Jacob did get us like, you're not going to make a fool out of me. So I think he was the one who did that shit. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be some shit. So this is a business that Charlie built from the ground up. And I really definitely think it's arson all day. I definitely think that fire was intentionally set. So we're going to see how this is going to play out in the next episode. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd like to hear your thoughts about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also follow me on all of my social platforms. I have all the links down in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Queen Sugar. So until next time, everybody, take care.